Right, welcome to T-Boys TV. We're back again. Obviously, we done a pre-recorded video of the last load of predictions. Didn't get any spot on, which is a bit gutting. Got a few one-pointers, close on some, like Sheffield United winning 3-0. I said 2-0. There was a few that I was quite close on, but yeah, didn't get any spot on, which is a little bit gutting. Hopefully I can for these midweek fixtures. And I'm going to turn that on. A little bit dark in here. There we go, that's a better view. But yeah, midweek fixtures in the Championship. Obviously, game week 32 of the season. Obviously, a few teams, including my team, Luton. We have a game in hand. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first game that we're going to be predicting, Birmingham City versus Cardiff City. Now, Birmingham with a really impressive win, actually, the Friday night football. I did watch that game against West Brom, Midlands derby. Obviously, not a massive derby compared to like when Birmingham played Villa, for example, but still a derby. And yeah, Birmingham won 2-0. I've been saying it for time though. Shame I didn't do Championship things before. Button, obviously, he's not West Brom's main keeper, but he is shocking. At fault for both goals. You know, when he was off positioning, that was giving me, you know, reminders of, even though he's doing it right now, Raya at Brentford against Fulham in the playoff final. Ignore that fat spot on my nose as well. It's very annoying. But, yeah, so obviously it gave me vibes of that. And second goal, I don't know what he was doing. The way he was coming out like that just wasn't good enough. But good win for Birmingham. They deserved it. And what I've noticed as well, and it was a stat they showed in the game, is when Birmingham have less possession, they tend to get a result. So, yeah, they're taking on Cardiff, who are a team down there. They probably need the points more. Birmingham, though, won their last 2 games. With it being at Birmingham as well, I can see it being a close one. I can see Cardiff making it tough for them, but I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0 to Birmingham in this one. Moving on to the next game, Coventry City versus Millwall. Now, obviously, Coventry played Luton, my team. I didn't see much of it. I only managed to watch the highlights. See, I did have my boxing fight. Unfortunately, lost TKO round 3. But I did get knocked down. I got up, and I will be doing a reaction to that at some point. I might even try and get it done tomorrow and get it out tomorrow. Excuse me, to the people that are interested. Still got a little bit of a cough, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, Coventry City got a draw, you know, against Luton. Decent result, I would say, especially with how Luton are doing. Taking on Millwall, who got a win against QPR. I thought it'd be a draw, but QPR, you know, got the... Millwall got the 2-1 victory. This one's an interesting one. I can see it going one or two ways. I can see it being a draw or Millwall snatching it. And I'm going to go over Millwall snatching it win. They currently are in the playoffs as well. They are 5th, right behind Luton. So, well, it's like 3 points. I'm going to go with Millwall win. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall. I'm going to go, say they go there and get a 2-1. Wouldn't be surprised if it was potentially a draw though. I can't lie. But yeah, moving on to the next game. Norwich City versus Hull City. You could say the battle of the cities in that sense. Obviously, Hull drew 0-0 with Stoke. Again, another prediction I was close on. I said 1-0 Hull. Just needed them to score. They're taking on Norwich, who obviously lost to Bristol City. I did say it could go either way, but in the end, Bristol City winning 1-0. I said 2-1 to Norwich. I think Norwich fans are starting to think that they might not get playoffs now, which, you know, they are still in it. There's a lot of teams in it, but it's looking slimmer for me, you know, for them. I'm not going to lie, which is mad to say. Obviously, pretty much everyone at the start of the season, including myself, predicted them to win the league. So that's what they usually do when they come down. Taking on Hull, who are on decent form, you know, despite that draw, is, you know, unbeaten for you know, a while. I'm actually going to go with Hull to get a result here. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1, and I think Hull fans would be happy with that, especially away at Carrow Road. Like I say, Norwich are still a team that are in the playoff race, but I just think their chances are slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go on at the moment, to be honest. So I'm going to go 1-1. Moving on to the next game, QPR versus Sunderland. Now, obviously, QPR have been shocking. Even since Critchley's come in, I've said that, you know, they ain't really been great at all. Struggling, obviously lost to Millwall in a London derby. Taking on Sunderland, who do have a chance of getting in the playoffs, another team in there. You know, Sunderland got a 1-0 win against Reading. Got, you know, the outcome right, just not the score. They got the win. They're doing well, even with players injured that, people thought they might struggle with. They're doing well. I'm going to back them to win this one, and I'm going to back them to win it pretty convincingly, especially with how QPR have been at the moment. I know it's at QPR, but I'm going to go 3-1 Sunderland. So, yeah, that's my prediction for that one. Moving on to the next game at Turf Moor, Burnley versus Watford. Obviously, Watford, you lot know I don't like being a Luton fan. Burnley, the way they are, I can only see this going one way, especially at home. Won their last 5 out of 5. It's more than that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how many they've won exactly at home, but brilliant form. I will keep my eye on this because obviously Luton have got a Burnley at the weekend, which will be a very difficult game at home. But yeah, Burnley at home, I can only see this going one way. Watford are still very hit and miss at times. Obviously, I did draw to Blackburn. I thought they'd win. But I told you, every time I predict them to win, they either draw or lose. I'm going to go 2-0 Burnley. 2-0 Burnley. I reckon they might get a clean sheet. I definitely think they'll win this game. So yeah, moving on to the next game, Reading versus Rotherham. Now, Reading, obviously, like I said, narrowly lost to Sunderland. Which ain't too bad. I thought they were going to get slumped. Obviously, I said 3-0. Rotherham, I actually think they've got a good chance of staying up. I think if there is a time to do it, it is this season. Especially the signings they've done at the start of the season, like Kyoso, obviously from Luton. I know he's had a bit of injuries and that, but he's a good player. Tom Eaves is a good player as well that they brought in. They're taking on Reading away. I can see this being a low-scoring one. I'm going to go 1-0 Reading. If it's at Rotherham, I'd probably back them to win. But there's times I look at Rotherham this season away and they're not actually that great away from home. But I'm going to go 1-0. I don't think it's going to be, goals galore. We'll see. But I'm going to go 1-0 Reading. Moving on to the next game, Bristol City taking on Wigan Athletic. Now, I did tell people Wigan would beat Huddersfield, even though I did say 2-1. I just knew Wigan would do it. Taking on Bristol City, obviously got that good win over Norwich. It's at Bristol City. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Wigan to get something here. I do think they'll make it tough and tight, but I'm going to go with another 1-0. 1-0 to Bristol City, of course. So, yep, that's my prediction for that one. Moving on to the next game at Deepdale, Preston North End versus Luton Town. Obviously, Luton, my team. How am I feeling going into this one? I'm feeling pretty confident, to be honest. Preston are actually really bad at home this season. Last season, they weren't too bad. Obviously, we did lose to them earlier on in the season when we was just going through that run at home. That sticky patch where we just couldn't get results. They did score a very good goal in that game, though, I will be honest. I'm feeling confident. Like I said, if you look at home form, they're 23rd. So that's how bad they are at home this season. Luton very good away as well. We're the third best team away in the whole league. Did get a draw to Coventry, which I don't think is a bad result, to be honest. I'll take it. Still unbeaten there, I think, in the last 4 times we went there. Preston, I'm going to go with what it was in 2021 when we played them at their ground, and that was a 1-0. I'm going to go over Luton to grind it out result, 1-0. 1-0 to Luton, I reckon, in that one. Moving on to the next game, Swansea City versus Blackpool. Blackpool, despite getting draws recently, they are actually bottom of the league. Obviously against 2 teams, in the battle. Rotherham not as much, but still in there, I would say. Obviously that draw against Huddersfield, which I think is a good result in the sense where they were down to 10 men early on from the first half. They're taking on, like I said, Swansea. Swansea very inconsistent. Swansea, got that defeat to Birmingham. It's an interesting one, this one. Will Swansea turn up? Or will Blackpool get a shock result, I would say, despite Swansea's inconsistency? I'm going to go with a Swansea win because they're at home. I'm going to go 2-0 to Swansea in this one. Moving on to the next game, Stoke City versus Huddersfield Town. Stoke City obviously drew 0-0 to Hull, like I said. Huddersfield, it's looking peak for them. I did say at the start of the season they're finished 23rd. They currently sit there now. It's getting to that stage where fans are getting really annoyed, with their team. you know, people was stop, you know, going and stuff like that. And yeah, people did tell me, you know, Huddersfield fans, I know going into this, the person they had in the Wigan game was the assistant of Carlos last season, so they thought they'd have that extra push. But like I said, different players. You know, there's a few that are still there, but it's different players. A lot of them players, they're just not good enough. They just don't try as well. I see it when I see, you know, when I do keep an eye on them in that sense. They're taking on Stoke. I don't rate Stoke highly. You know, they've been like this for years, where they've always been floating around the bottom of the Championship. But I can see them getting a result here. I don't see it being goals galore. Huddersfield's so poor at the moment. I'm going to go 1-0 Stoke. Another 1-0 in that one. Moving on to the next one. This one's a massive game. If Luton weren't playing, I'd definitely probably, you know, watch this one. Obviously, Luton play the same day as this one. Sheffield United versus Middlesbrough. Obviously, second versus third. Still think Sheffield United will get second. Middlesbrough, obviously, for me, they're moving like Nottingham Forest last season, where they started, you know, near the bottom and they've shot their way up. You know, obviously got a really good result against Cardiff, 3-1. I thought Cardiff could potentially get something. And it was 1-1 at one point, but then Middlesbrough just went on to score 2 more. Sheffield United at home, obviously got that really good win against Swansea. 3-0, I was close on that. I said 2-0. With it being at Sheffield United, I think they'll do it. Just to cement that second place, even though I think they've got it, just confirm it even more, get some more points on the board. I reckon it'll be tough though. It'll be tough, definitely. I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 to Sheffield United in that one. And then moving on to the last game, which is another interesting game. West Bromwich Albion versus Blackburn Rovers. Obviously, Blackburn got that, I would say, decent draw away at Watford. Considering we know how inconsistent Blackburn can be, saying that, so can Watford. But still, decent result, I would say. Taking on West Brom, who obviously had that, you know, they'd be disappointed with that defeat to Birmingham, of course. You know, Derby, they weren't great at all. Keeper wasn't great. Obviously, he'll be in goal for this. I'm not sure how long Palmer's out for, though. If anyone does know, let me know. West Brom at home. Blackburn inconsistent. I can see West Brom bouncing back in this one, to be honest. I'm going to go with another 2-1. So, yeah, people, they are my Championship predictions. What I'm going to do now as well, I'm going to start doing it more, is this is what the table would look like if the results go the way I think. So, I'll put it right there. So, yeah, interesting. You know, Luton would jump up to third, obviously, with Middlesbrough losing. And then interesting ones, especially in the playoffs, like Millwall still being fifth. Sunderland would jump into the playoffs. And then, obviously, bottom three, for example, obviously remains the same. But interesting, you know, especially around that position with Norwich, Bristol City, Swansea, Hull and all that. You know, Bristol City, maybe a late push for playoffs. I don't think so, but they're definitely, you know, if they keep getting out these results, they're definitely, you know, in for a chance. So it's going to be interesting. You know, Birmingham would have jumped up 3 places, I believe, as well, to 14th. So interesting if results do go the way I think. Proves how tight the Championship is this season as well. It's crazy. So yeah, people, that is where I'm going to wrap it up. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Don't forget to smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on the notification bell. You never miss an upload or a scheduled stream. Subscribe to my other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. Link to that is in the description below. And if you do want to follow me across any of my socials, links to them are also in the description. And yeah, until next time, I will see you lot in a bit. Take care and peace.